Hey everybody, Burglar223 here, back at it again with some more EFAPPing the Avatar EFAP. It is gonna be just me again this time. Me and Joe are having a hard time, like, lining up schedules. It's not as easy as it used to be. And I feel like, I keep making you guys wait long enough, and I honestly, like, I want to make these videos as much as possible. Having so much time go by without a video, I feel like is a bad thing, especially for my channel, because these are probably the most well received videos I've made. Not surprising, as it is a rather hot topic, sort of. Um, at least in the EFAP MauLer community, which has quite a number of people. Um, and yeah, so I don't want to wait too long with making these videos. It would be great to have Joe here for every video, but like I said, we're having a hard time lining up schedules, and I don't want to make you guys wait too long. So it's going to be just me again this time around. And before we start with the actual video, we do have some comments from last time. Um, I think this is what I'm gonna do from here on out. I'm just gonna like read comments from the previous video and like respond to them. Because I mean, last time we tried to go over both videos and we were kind of just all over the place. So um, I guess we're just gonna limit it to the previous video. I have been getting more comments on the other two videos as well. But I think I'm just gonna respond to whatever was previous, just to make it a little easier on me. With the last video, it says 3 comments, but for some reason it only shows 2. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I mean, YouTube, the whole fucking site sucks. But anyway, first one we have here is about the spirit healing water thing. Throughout the show, we see that water healing is a delicate interaction that requires time and calm environment. Even if there was a chance to actually heal Jet, which isn't, there were literally Dai Li coming out of the door every second with reinforcements, there was not time for any healing. Also, fully healing Aang took like 3 months, if I am not wrong. Um, yeah, I will agree that, like, healing does take time. But it's not like, I mean, yeah, there is like a rush with the Dai Li coming in. Yes, that is true. But the problem is that she doesn't even make an effort to bring it up. Like, she knows she has this life-saving water with her, and she doesn't even pull it out to try and save her friend, but she'll try and save Zuko, someone she hates. I mean, yeah, she does start to get a little trusting with people she doesn't trust after what happened with Jet, and then pays the price for it, and then she goes back to her old self after Zuko betrays her again. But it's still weird that she is fully willing to just heal Zuko's scar rather than as opposed to potentially saving Jet, or at least trying. I will agree that yes, it does take time. Healing Aang taking 3 months. I mean, using the spirit water that brought him back to life right away. The thing he was having problems with was the avatar state, like, not working, because his chakra was blocked off afterwards. And, yeah, so he isn't getting, like, water healed every day, at least not what we see. I mean, Katara works on him sometimes, but it's not like she's healing him every day throughout the 3 months. And I'm not sure how many months go by, but I mean, it is like end of spring, start of summer, so yeah, 3 months sounds about right. But yeah, the fact that she doesn't bring it up at all is kind of strange. Like, again, like I said in the last video, it would be better if she like pulled it out and then Jet stopped her and said, no, just I'll be fine. Like, it serves the same purpose. It's just executes it better to where, like, you actually bring up the life-saving thing that actually doesn't get to be used, rather than just not bringing it up, which makes it look like, oh, you didn't bring it up because if you did, you could have healed him, and then Aang wouldn't be healed in the future. When in reality, she could bring it up, have Jet dismiss it, and it serves the same purpose, and it gets rid of that problem of, oh, why didn't she use it, or why didn't she try to use it? Yeah, so again, like, I'm still leaving that point to MauLer, because, yeah, that if that happened, it wouldn't have been a problem, but since it did happen, or since, like, she didn't bring it up, yeah, it's still a problem. So anyway, we have Francisco again. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I didn't even pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Probably a good thing I didn't try to pronounce this. Matej Chorniak. I'm looking at my door, making sure no one busts it down and fucking kills me. Oh, cool. One of my long comments are featured in the thumbnail. Well, not anymore. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I usually take time before I upload the custom thumbnails because I'm lazy and I don't work on them before uploading the video. They don't even take that long to make. I'm just lazy and I don't feel like making them sometimes. I leave the video up with the default thumbnail for a while. But yeah, it's not like that anymore. I'm sorry. But don't know if Joe agreed or disagreed with my statement. Kind of hard to tell, but otherwise decent vid. I think Joe. I'm pretty sure this is in reference to the Bato of the Water Tribe comments and the Monarchy comments. I'm pretty sure he agrees. If I had to give my take on why spirits don't teach Aang, it's important to remember that the show emphasizes that Aang can't just have any bender be his teacher. If that were the case, Aang would have settled with the academy teacher, mercenary guy, instead of Toph, or Bumi in all his wisdom would have escaped and taught Aang earthbending, regardless of not mastering the art of waiting and listening, or do nothing, as Bumi puts it. In fact, Toph's whole setup is a perfect example of the teacher has to fit the student. For starters, as I've said with Bumi, could have taught Aang earthbending, but doesn't, because Aang needs a teacher that has mastered waiting and listening. Meaning that despite being one of the most powerful earthbenders, Bumi, and by extension the narrative, thinks that he is inadequate and not meant to be Aang's teacher. Yes. I think this is what I was trying to say with the story wouldn't work, which that statement itself is bad. It's a bad defense, but I think it's more likely to, or it's better to say something like, it's hard to put into words, but it's just like, as Literature Devil says, there is an element of fate. Bumi. You're saying Bumi hasn't mastered waiting and listening, and that's why he doesn't want to be his teacher, but, I mean, clearly he does. The reason why he doesn't want to go help Aang is because he's waiting and listening for the right moment, meaning, like, he can't leave because he has to wait until the right moment to actually free his city. So he does master waiting and listening, but he feels like, I can't leave now because I'm waiting and listening for the right moment to save Omashu. Hence, when the eclipse happens, he's like, "Oh, that'll do it." But yes, so there are like, here's what I was trying to say. Like, the narrative, it isn't just Aang that saves the day in the end, right? Defeating the Fire Lord, that doesn't itself end the war. It is the accomplishment of everyone he has interacted with that ends the war. Like, in Sozin's comment, there are so many different battles going on that are all because of the specific journey taken. And this is kind of what I mean by the story wouldn't work. It's like, all of these things are so intricately placed to where this is the only way the war could end. If Aang... It's entirely possible for Aang to sit in a hut and train with spirits that way. It is entirely possible. And learn bending through the spirits, even though they can't bend. He would have to learn through the motions and through teachings rather than actually witnessing bending itself. Which also, by the way, that point even has more merit now, because I think I compared it, learning from spirits, as like learning from YMCA like papers on how to do like karate, like you see that in the Karate Kid. I said that's kind of the equivalent to that, but Aang literally starts learning waterbending by waterbending scrolls. So, I mean, kind of the same thing. I mean, yes. what's his name? Paku. He does say like they are no substitute for a real master, but he still gives them waterbending scrolls and everything. So it's like, I mean, they are obviously, Aang is able to learn that way, so it gives that point even more credit, as well as why am I forgetting his name? I don't forget anyone's names. Jong, he teaches Aang just by talking and like teaching him how to breathe and stuff like that for firebending. So it does give that point a little more credit. But anyway, as I was saying earlier, Aang learning that way, yes, he could learn through his past lives, first mastering how to contact his spirits, and then after that, master bending just by being taught. He could have done it that way, but all that would do is make him strong enough to fight the Fire Lord, and even then, who knows if that method would even make him strong enough. I mean, he would probably be strong, but who knows if he'd be as strong as he is in this show, like in the show, because Aang learns from incredibly potent, people. He learns from Katara, who starts off relatively amateur at waterbending, but learns very quickly to become an aggressive master. He learns from Toph, the most unique and powerful earthbender in the whole history of the world, as far as we know. She's probably the only earthbender to be blind and develop her seismic sense, which is really helpful. I mean, it's the whole reason Aang is able to do his Deus Ex Machina at the end. And through her seismic sense, she's able to sense the impurities in metal and fucking metal bend. So yeah, learning from her is a really good thing. I mean, he doesn't learn how to metal bend in the show, and apparently, according to Korra, he never learns how to metal bend, which is, I don't know how to feel about that. What's it called? He learns from Zuko, who is the mix of the emotion field firebending, like the evil Sozin kind, as well as learning from the greatest firebending master, Iroh, who developed a technique for redirecting lightning. Lightning is something only the royal family of firebenders can do, and even then, like, Zuko couldn't do it. Like, you have to be an extremely powerful and disciplined firebender in order to bend lightning, but Iroh came up with a technique that allows you to redirect lightning rather than actually create it to defend yourself from it by learning from waterbenders. So that's the thing. Iroh's teachings are from, like, all elements, and he also fucking learns from dragons and everything. Like, all these things, I mean, who knows what the other avatars did? They probably are not as strong as Aang, for all we know. But where I was going with this, everyone he meets, right? So Sozin's Comet, the battles that are fought, Aang versus Ozai. That's kind of like the big, kind of like the grand scheme of things, like the big opposing leaderships. You got the good side and the bad side. And then you have Sokka's Sokka, Toph, and Suki. They're taking down the Fire Nation air fleet, which are going to burn down the entirety of the Earth Kingdom. Which, I mean, if Aang defeats the Fire Lord, sure, but can he also defeat the entire air fleet of Fire Nation that is burning down the entirety of the Earth Kingdom? Could he do that all in one sitting? Probably not. He would have to choose one or the other. And then there's Iroh and the rest of the White Lotus retaking Ba Sing Se, also very important for the Earth Kingdom. And then you have Katara and Zuko fighting Azula, who has been appointed the new Fire Lord and is an insane bitch. With her in charge, there won't be a world to save. Like, I mean, Ozai is turning the entire world into a burnt crisp and making everything Fire Nation, but Azula will probably just nuke the planet and dry all the water out, and it just becomes a hollow rock. Like, she's insane. So yes, all of those, the entire journey leads to all of that, and that's because of the specificity of everything that happened. And there are spirits, and, you know, the spirits are basically gods and everything in the world. So yes, there is a level of fate as, like, as to what should happen in the world. And who knows, maybe the past avatars know that, and that's why Roku and everyone else isn't too concerned or involved with everything. So, like, oh yeah, we know, we're on board. But anyway, let's read the rest of this comment. There's a lot more to it. This is further enforced by the Swamp episode, in which Toph is introduced as a vision. Now recall that the Swamp is a spiritual place, that, as the vine-bending guy says, time is an illusion, which leads Aang to the conclusion that Toph is someone he will meet. He'll turn her into meat? And that's pretty fucked up. No, I know what that was meant to be. But, yes, again, like, see, I wonder if MauLer, like, learned anything by watching Avatar 2. That's another reason why people love Avatar. There's so many good lessons. Time is an illusion. That is true. It's a construct of man. It's something we invented. This shows, like, hey, things are meant to happen in this world. And I mean, he loves Lord of the Rings, and Gandalf basically says the same thing. Like, like when he was saying, like, it's so convenient that Aang woke up at the right time, quote unquote, even though he probably should have woken up a lot earlier to fight the Fire Lord. He called that convenient. Well, I was like, well, how convenient is it that the One Ring ends up in Frodo's hands after fucking hundreds of years in fucking Isildur's hands, then Gollum's hands, then Bilbo's hands, and then Frodo's hands. Like, it all just, like, happens. And the way Gandalf explains it is just like, well, there are things that are beyond our understanding in this world. Bilbo was meant to find the ring, as well as you. It's like, he obviously doesn't have a problem with that. They seem to think that, like, Lord of the Rings is, like, perfect. Like, they defended the Eagles, and I'm sure, like, maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention, so I'm not really going to comment too much on this, but it was just like, I didn't really understand what they were saying. I think this was in the Nostalgia Critic Top 11 EFAP. They defended the Eagles, and I forgot what they said about it. But Lord of the Rings has plenty of problems. The one that I can think of is when you put the ring on and you turn invisible, everything you see is a fucking horrible nightmare, and everything in Mordor, like, wakes up and knows where you are and starts heading towards you. Bilbo put that ring on, and he's fine. Like, he's laughing and he's throwing it in the air. Like, does he not have terrible visions? And, like, why did it take so long for Sauron to wake up? Like, that, like, I'm just saying, like, what he considers good and bad is getting a little muddled to me. I mean, I fucking love Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings are really good movies, but I'm just saying, it seems like he thinks that it's, like, perfect. But, I don't know, but, yes, if he doesn't have a problem with Gandalf talking about the One Ring, you know, having, like, the world of Middle-earth having, like, fate involved, then why have a problem with, you know, Avatar having an element of fate? He did say that stuff like that is not preferable, even though it happens in things he loves. But I mean, that is just a subjective thing. I mean, it's kind of hard to measure if that is good or bad, especially since it's not something we can measure in our world. Although we could say that there is no such thing as fate in our world. There is technically no proof of it, but there is also technically times where you can say, well, I mean, look at all these crazy coincidences that happen. Like, this can't be just coincidence. So at the same time, it's kind of like they're proof that there is fate. It's really confusing. I don't think it's something we can measure. So I don't know if it's something that should be criticized. Now that let me read further. Now this means that the spirit universe, fate, whatever you want to call it, really wants Aang to have a specific teacher. This applies to Katara and Zuko as well. Katara being the only waterbender in the South Pole, where she awakened Aang, and Aang says to Zuko that I think you, Zuko, are meant to be my teacher. Yeah, like, Katara's the only waterbender in the South Pole, by the point Aang gets to her. And you're wondering, like, well, I mean, that's weird. Like, what, you're just gonna chalk that up to fate? It's like, well, yes, it is fate, but also, if you remember, like, the Fire Nation rounded up waterbenders from the South Pole because they were an opposing threat. And then they're also way easier to fight off than the Northern Water Tribe, because the Northern Water Tribe is more fortified and militarized than the South Pole. So yes, like, there is a completely, like, logical reasoning as well as a level of fate involved with that. And then with Zuko, Zuko's entire story, again, if he criticizes anything about Zuko's story, I'm gonna be a little upset and wonder if I should even listen to MauLer anymore, because he doesn't know what good writing is at that point. But Zuko is kind of more important than Aang, as in reestablishing balance in the world. Like, Zuko is kind of the real hero here. I mean, his entire journey is to, you know, redeem the Fire Nation. Aang defeating the Fire Lord, that isn't gonna just redeem the Fire Nation. You need someone that has lived in the Fire Nation during all this time and has, you know, gone through this journey and learned both sides. Like, that's what you need in order to redeem the Fire Nation. Zuko is kind of like, again, he's kind of like the real hero of the story. Zuko also says something similar beforehand, I believe. He says, yes, I am destined to restore balance to the world with you. So basically, Literature Devil was right. Fate being a huge part of Avatar, yes it is. And by extension, all avatars with citation... with all avatars must have the right teachers, but unlike Literature Devil in this podcast, I actually substantiated my claims with citation to the text. Yeah, again, inviting Literature Devil to this talk, why did MauLer do that? I mean, he did a Dark Souls stream last night, and he was like, someone asked him, you know, what is your what is the opinion everyone dogs on you for? And he's like, oh, Atla, Avatar: The Last Airbender, no doubt. And again, he just doesn't elaborate further. He doesn't talk about why. He's just like, oh, yeah, that's it. I answered your question. Done. He doesn't say, yeah, I mean, it is understandable. Like, I did it this way, I did it that way. It's like, oh my god. The fact that he's not talking about it is just, like, infuriating me. It's just, no one is mad at you because you don't like Avatar. It's because you handled it so badly and you refuse to comment further on it. If you don't like Avatar, that is completely fine, but you made this video and it's bad and people are telling you, yeah, hey, by the way, yeah, you don't like it, that's fine, but you're also wrong on a bunch of shit in this video. And he's like, yeah, okay, get over it. So, what? You want to just make awful content and then just get over it? I thought, like, you pride yourself on, you know, growing, but you just want to avoid it. I mean, it's so stupid. Like, this whole thing. I'm gonna keep doing this. Maybe he's not talking about it because hopefully, fingers crossed, this is the reason why he's doing it. Hopefully he has a proper response coming up. I mean, seriously, why else would he just... I want to believe that, because he is a huge inspiration to me. He showed me, like, I used to only pay attention to the deeper meaning of storytelling rather than the literal. And while you could say that's a good thing, it's also really good to have the literal things that happen in a story to be good, because that's where the plot holes and stuff are found. If, like, you can have, like, Avatar's Deus Ex Machina. The entire point of the Deus Ex Machina is to show people, like, no matter what, like, stay true to your guns, and you can overcome any situation in your ideal ideology, right? Like, that is the theme around it. It's like Aang is so determined not to kill that the universe gives him an answer to save the day without killing. And it's like, it's teaching people, like, believe in yourself, believe in your ideals, and the world will reward you. That's nice and all, but what literally happens is Aang gets a power that has never been established, and it removes all tension from the fight once you learn that he's going to use that. I mean, like, you have to have both. You have to have the deeper meaning, and you have to have the literal. And MauLer, like, really, like every single time I listen to his reviews, I feel like my brain is growing. It's like the way he talks about things. It's just like, it really makes me think about my writing, and I just want to keep getting better and better at it. But like, and then he makes shit like this, and then he just avoids it, and I'm just wondering, like, oh man, should I even listen to him? Because, but yeah, he needs to do a proper response. There are a few more parallel to reality and in-universe arguments I can make, but this is the strongest one. I can go over them if you wish in the responses, or discuss the claims and arguments already out forth in this comment. Dude, this comment is long, but I mean, I don't give a shit. Like, you could elaborate literally everything in one comment, and I'll read it. So yeah, if you have further things to add, I mean, it helps me. Like, you guys come up with stuff that I don't really think of, and yeah, like, I really appreciate that. Like, just, telling me things I may have missed, or like elaborating further on something I may have, not explained very well. But yeah, one last thing. While I was not aware of MauLer's statements in the Mando minis, do you know how much media we've covered? Therefore, his awful takes shouldn't be brought up for discussion. I never expected to hear something so dumb and hypocritical from MauLer. Maybe Rags, but not MauLer. This coming from the guy who tears YouTubers apart for one bad take, and how he encourages discussion only to shut down said discussion on Avatar for reasons. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's just bizarre. I don't know, like, how to feel. They obviously, like, in the most recent EFAPs, they've been talking about anime more recently, and although myself and a lot of people don't consider Avatar anime, some people do. And honestly, I don't like to consider it anime because I think it is better than anime. It doesn't have all those annoying tropes, and it actually moves. It has animation. A lot of anime, like, I love Death Note, but you're just looking at Google Images. You are just looking at static poses that move their lips up and down. Like, it can be so boring at times, and the dialogue with a lot of shows, like, it's so literal and it's so strange. A lot of anime is really bad. But where I was going with this was, like, they have this really strong opinion about anime. They say anime is dumb, anime is stupid, anime is only for moody teenagers who like to see cool things happen. Like, Rags said something around the lines of that. I believe that was during Super Chats. God, like, they make so many fucking live streams, and I think that was that during the Man of Steel one. Could have been. I don't, like, by the time they are making by the time they're live, I like wake up at like 6 in the afternoon. I work overnights, and they're already like on Super Chats. So I don't really remember what they talk about, and I don't really get to see what they're talking about most of the time. But Rex said something around the lines of that, and MauLer, like, kind of agrees. And while I could say that's the case for a lot of anime out there, that is what I would call stereotyping. Anime is a medium. It's a form of animation. And it's a form of it's not really a form of storytelling. It's just a medium to get your storytelling told. Death Note doesn't have to be an anime. It could have been a live action show. In fact, it would have. I mean, there really is no reason for it to be animated. it's just people standing around talking most of the time. I mean, the animation does make writing names in a notebook exciting. Um, the direction is really nice, but it's just like, it doesn't need to be animated, right? But it just is. It's just the medium. But like, for people who love writing and who love storytelling, to just take a medium that has really good storytelling in it, of obviously not all anime is. Most anime, I would say, is pretty fucking shit. But there are really good ones out there. Like, someone recommended MauLer Attack on Titan, and they said there's a lot of things you would probably like in it. And he was like, or actually, I think they said there are some things he would like in it. He said some things, and I think MauLer would really like it. I've been rewatching the entire thing as season 4 has been coming out, and it's pretty fucking solidly written. There are a few problems here and there that I can think of, but mostly really small. There's only like one weird thing that didn't happen and like one Deus Ex Machina. The rest is really fucking well written. And yeah, it's something he would probably really like, but because it's anime, he's like hesitant to watch it, which I find strange because MauLer, in one of the TFA videos, the Force Awakens videos, he uses One Punch Man as a reference to how to make an overly powered character, story interesting. And One Punch Man is one of those anime I would consider to be pretty, I mean, it's mediocre. There's some really good things in it, but it's just one of those comedy, weird anime that's just like, I don't know. But yeah, they have this really strong opinion about anime. It's just like, I just don't understand people who love writing, who, like, and especially, like, they seem to, like most people, they hate things that are coming out nowadays, which is rightfully so. Everything that's coming out nowadays fucking sucks. And it's just like, man, I just want something new. I want something good. And a lot of anime out there, they're what people are looking for. It's like, it's either like they can't handle watching things in Japanese, because, I mean, for most shows, you have to watch them with subtitles because the English subs are terrible. The exceptions being Cowboy Bebop and Death Note. Those are the only ones. Fight me. And then, it's that, and it's animated, and it's like, oh, it's animated weird, and I understand. I used to think the same way when I was younger. It took me till after watching Avatar to start watching anime and start appreciating it. Like, there's a lot of good ones out there. Hunter x Hunter, Death Note, Attack on Titan, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Devilman Crybaby, which is one that I really, really liked. I don't know if I'd say it's good anymore. I used to think so. I mean, there's a lot of good things in it, but I mean, there's also a lot of fucking stupid things too. So, I mean, I would give that, on an objective scale, I'd probably give that 6.5, 7, maybe, somewhere around there. But yeah, Devilman, pretty good. Maybe something that people will like. What's another? There are plenty of shows with like really, really good writing. Hunter x Hunter definitely being one of the bigger ones. Same with Death Note. But yeah, they have this strong hatred for anime. Even though MauLer used One Punch Man as a reference, which makes it even stranger. It's like, okay, so do you not like anime or not? Like, are you willing to give some a chance? Because if so, I mean, you should watch more. But yeah, where was I going with that? I kind of just went on like a whole tangent. But anyway, those are the 2 comments. I think it's time we get to the actual video. Okay, so by the way, I think where we left off was they were talking about Katara's character being put into question when bloodbending the Southern Raiders guy. And I was like, no, it's perfectly justified as to how she feels, how she reacts, and she even has tears in her eyes at some point. So, I mean, it's enough to work with. Anyway, I think it's about time we start.
Correctly, she was. It was just.
Well, she has
when
sort
she
of
got,
a
when she
moment
got
at the
over
end of the episode, but at that point in the episode, it's like I just think something's missing there.
It might be a little flaw in the writing. because they focused so much on her being angry, and it was played off as if she was doing the wrong thing. I think Aang was like, he said something along the lines of "Don't do this." He didn't want Katara to do that.
Well, it's played off as if that's like the wrong thing to do because it is. She just wants to murder someone. I mean, yes, he is a bad person who murdered her mother, but that does not mean you just go and kill him.
Of course, Zuko being, I guess, yeah, Zuko being at that time the Lancer, he's taking the place as the Lancer in the little band.
Hmm.
He's the opposite of Aang, so he's the more aggressor. He's willing to kill. He's willing to do everything that Aang isn't willing to do. And so it was Aang was the angel, Zuko was the devil in that scenario, and Katara went with Zuko. So it was kind of played off as something she was doing that was wrong. And they dressed up as ninja, and all that good stuff. And so they're sneaking. They're not being honorable anymore. They're no longer the honorable heroes.
Okay, I strawmanned him. I thought he was saying like it's playing it as if it's the wrong thing, even though I should have listened further. But yeah, yes, what she's doing is wrong, and yeah, she doesn't need to like break down in tears after her first interaction with someone just because she did something she finds immoral. She is fueled by rage and everything. I went into this in the last part, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But yeah, she's fueled by rage and revenge, and she does feel remorse though. Like you see it, she has tears in her eyes. I already showed it, so yeah.
Once they start doing that, so it was played off as this is bad Katara. That's
Oh,
why
sure.
the tension was so high.
And I like the whole like sort of dabbling, and then but I think like the way you sort of do it, it's like the true character stays on point, as in they can only go so far before they're like, yeah, this isn't me, and it affects her so dramatically, bloodbending to save her friends, and she doesn't do anything horrible to the old lady. She just stops her, right? She doesn't like.
Yeah.
Which is why, if I was a friend of his, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Look, I know it seems horrible, but what you just did is like really good.
Well, she's crying because she has this awful power. It's not because she stopped the old woman. She's upset because now she has this awful power that she did not want at all. She finds it extremely immoral, but now she has it. It's something she has access to, and that terrifies her. But she had no choice. She's not crying because she potentially hurt an old woman. No, like, she wanted to stop her. It's just the way she had to do it. She had to use something she didn't want to use. Yeah, I think I don't know if he actually fully processed what was happening on screen. Maybe this is the problem of. Well, no, I can't even say this is a problem of taking things too literally, because if he took it literally, like, he would understand what happened.
So you're all good at the book, but she's obviously crying, and I found that to be quite like an impactful part of her. But then that scene later, what I guess what I would be looking for is that once she drops the guy and realizes it's not the right guy, she should like have a moment and then carry on. But
she looks down, turns around, cries, like she has tears in her eyes. That's perfectly fine. She doesn't need to like go, oh my god, I can't believe I bloodbended. I promised myself I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, not even on anyone. I mean, it would be inappropriate for the tone of the episode. Tone is very, very important. She does not fully care that she bloodbended someone who isn't potentially her target. She is upset, but she thinks, whatever. Get over it. Get over it, Qatar. We gotta go find the real guy. And, yeah, she's breaking down in tears because she knows this isn't her. Like, the her inside of her is saying, this isn't you, but she's like, I need to do this. But really, she doesn't need to. And that's why she stops in the end. The entire episode is her moment. I don't understand these points. I said that MauLer grows my brain with his critiques. These shrink my brain.
But she's just like moving on, and I was just like, "Oh man, that should have been like really
that was
impactful."
kind of strange.
It is impactful.
Oh, and of course, despite the fact that I think the bloodbending puppeteering episode is really neat, it's probably the scariest one out of the selection, I suppose. Obviously, it's a kid show.
Control people's blood.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. If this show...
There's fucking concentration camps in that episode too. The people who say this is just a silly kid show, I mean, it is a silly kid show, but there's also a lot of adult things in there. This is something like more like this is something that kids content doesn't do nowadays. They don't make it for all ages. This is a Mauler point, and I 100% agree with it. Kids content should be held to a higher standard because you are teaching and like developing future generations with your media. There's a reason why the original Lion King is better than the remake. From what I haven't seen the remake because I do not support that shit, but from what I've seen, it's like they're just manipulating you into like feeling things, and it's just nonsense. Like everything, like all that I've seen of it, it's just nonsense. Whereas, you know, the original Lion King, it's so mature and it's so like meticulous as to what it's doing. It's stuff like that, like Finding Nemo. I mean, that's more for the parents than for the kids, but it's also a kids movie. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, I feel like I'm the example of what proper kids content could do for someone. I mean, my whole entire identity is built around film, as sad as that is. And it's another reason why I hold the show up to a high standard, because I feel like it has built me up into the person I am now. So yeah, this is why it's very important to me.
Shows are rated, man. Whoa. Like I'd be excited to see
like,
what's
what's stopping Katara of like bending people's blood out of their eyeballs or something like that?
What the fuck is going on? You guys are making fun of anime, and then this is what you talk about? This is the shit you'd see in an anime. This is the shit they do, and that's the shit, like, it's so unnecessary and stupid. But anyway.
Drain all their blood.
I would say we hope her character is the reason why she wouldn't do that to people.
Because I think there was an instance where they were, like, sucking the water out of plants and killing them and stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't even with the moon.
So what's the... I don't think so. I don't think so either. So what would be stopping Katara, for example, from just sucking all the blood out of somebody and using it as a blood whip?
The hope is that,
what's stopping her is her. Who is getting Avatar wrong, by the way? Am I supposed to be responding to Literature Devil now? I'm really confused. He's supposed to be defending this shit. Oh my god.
She wouldn't want to, ethically, right? That's because Jesus.
Ethically.
Yeah.
The old lady wouldn't care.
The old lady? I mean, maybe it's not possible to do it in that aspect. Because if you look at the way they move, it's really, like, fucked up, and, like, they're twitching, and it's almost as if, like, the person being controlled is also resisting in a way, so maybe it's not possible to literally just take all the blood out of their body. That's my response to that. They're kind of just, like, talking as friends right now, just having, like, a little bit of, like, oh, what if this? What if that? What if this dark, gloomy, edgy teenager thing happened? Yeah.
Lady wouldn't give a fuck. She would do it. So about that scene, Katara's getting puppeteered until she is able to block the puppeteering, and then she's able to apply the puppeteering to the old lady. Mechanically, I was just confused. I was like, why is any of this happening this way? Just like suddenly Katara can block it, suddenly the old lady can't block Katara doing it.
Okay. This is gonna be a kind of I feel like this will go against his point. Like, this isn't a point for him, but it's also, like, really thin. It's very close to being a flaw. However, from what we established in the show, it does make sense. At least I hope I explain it well enough. I think it makes sense. Waterbenders get their power from the moon. And, the full moon is out. Like, bloodbending is only possible on the full moon. At least in the original Avatar. In Korra, people are able to just do it whenever, for absolutely no reason. It's never explained. But it's the full moon, and waterbenders get their power from the moon. And Katara is a lot younger than Hama. And she's also more powerful. I mean, she even says, I'm a more powerful bender than you, Hama. Your technique is useless on me. So it's the full moon out, and she's imbued with power, and she's a lot stronger and younger than Hama. I mean, Hama's like, she looks like she's like 90. She's a really powerful waterbender, but I mean, like, in order to waterbend, you need to, like, move properly, so... So yeah, she's able to power her because she's a more powerful bender, and that's basically it. And honestly, like that I guess that also kind of foreshadows she kind of is able to blood bend like right there. Like maybe in order to like get the power to like stop moving, she has to like stop the blood bending. But in order to stop the blood bending, you would have to blood bend yourself. So kind of foreshadows how she's able to blood bend a little bit later. That's how I always interpreted it. Like she's like stopping the blood bending and blocks her out, and then moves on, and then she's able to blood bend later. Like she understands the feeling. But yeah.
It.
Well, obviously, she must have siphoned it out of her brain, you know, like Ray did to Kylo Ren.
Oh no!
Don't compare it to that. I don't even know. I don't even remember anything about Disney Star Wars, but the fact that you just compared it to that, it's like, stop it. Literature Devil makes me want to fucking like throw my microphone out the fucking window. There's no window in here, but I want to fucking throw it at something. Oh, yeah. MauLer, like, when making this video, he should have turned it off and said, Literature Devil, did you watch the show? No. Okay, well, I need to get someone else. Because you're not citing the text at all. You're just, like, conceding. Maybe MauLer thought, like, maybe why he doesn't want to talk about it anymore, because he think he did such a good job. Like, he talked to Literature Devil. He watched the show at some point, and he conceded to every point he made. So it was like, oh, I must be right about everything. But Literature Devil, like, didn't watch it for a really fucking long time, and it's really evident here. And, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So, you're not right, MauLer. Please, people out there, these are my most well-received videos. Make sure MauLer sees these videos. Although, knowing them, the first part, I gotta say, like, trying to rewatch it, I have a hard time rewatching it. It's only, like 2 and onwards. I mean, even 2, it's kind of like there are points where I'm just like, oh man, I don't know, we kind of did a bad job there, but there's still a lot of good stuff in all of them. But like, I feel 1 is pretty bad. But it's just like, yeah, like I need him to see this. I want to see how he would react. Would he try and act as if I'm stupid, as if I'm incompetent and I don't know what I'm talking about? I'm actually really interested to see that, and I'm honestly like open to like criticism and discussion on this. I've said that many times, and I would just be really interested to see how he reacts to this, because I don't think anyone has ever like told MauLer, you're wrong, right? Everyone kind of just like listens to him. Same with Rags. No one is like, I mean, everyone is like, Rags, you're wrong, but like he just doesn't listen to anyone. And I'm wondering, will MauLer do the same? Will he just not listen? Maybe he's already doing it. But well, I mean, he is already doing it as far as we know. But he just needs to just respond to this, to Avatar, to everything he's been wrong about, to reestablish his credibility. But the more he keeps avoiding it, the more he thinks he's completely fine with just saying, yeah, Atla, my take was bad, get over it. It's like, okay, but like, he didn't even say that either, though. He was just like, he just saying, like, nobody likes his opinion about it. He never says, like, oh, yeah, I'm wrong about it. Or, yeah, like, I don't like it, and I'm wrong, but I still don't like it. Like, he hasn't said anything about that. I think he still thinks that, like, his criticisms are justified. He literally gave this show a 4 out of 10. How do you give this show a 4 out of 10? He gave fucking, He gave something really bad, like a 6 out of 10. And it really pissed me off. It's like, really? You gave that more? Oh, he rated an episode of Mandalorian a 6 out of 10. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, the episode he rated was fucking terrible. It's like, you rated that more than Avatar as a whole. That is inconceivable. Inconceivable.
But I think I mean, Katara is shown to be, she was the only one in her village to be able to waterbend. She was already sort of I guess you could say, a
Well,
prodigy.
wasn't that because they killed the
I,
others?
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
was the only one left in her village. So, and she was really obsessed with it. She was really obsessed with being able to waterbend. She was learning on her own, so she kind of got the basics. I think she got training since then. Before that part, so also not just training, but trial by fire is the best teacher. So, she might have been able to gather some sort of idea on how it's done. Okay, so this is how this is how I bend water. How would I bend blood? And I think the old lady even told her how she kind of does it. Like, I think she says that, okay, the water in your blood, I was able to do that. Now Katara can make the necessary connections and try it on her own. I think that's what they're kind of implying there.
Well, yes, and also like she's just a more powerful bender in general, and it's the full moon out. Like it makes sense that she's able to overpower a 90-year-old woman. It just makes sense.
Oh, I was actually I'm on board with the idea that she could, like how Force users seemingly don't really use the Force on each other, and the assumption is that if one of them was to use a Force push on one of them, the other one would, Force anti-push, like they'd be able to counter it, so they may as well go for lightsaber skill.
Yeah.
And obviously we see that in Revenge of the Sith, where they both try to Force push each other, and they basically cancel out until they both blow away. So like a Bloodbender being able to Bloodbend you probably can't as soon as you figure out how to counter Bloodbend. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so they cancel each other out. But then she manages to do it to the old lady without her being able to
Oh,
stop
right.
Katara.
Okay. Yes.
And so I was like,
That's your
oh,
point. So
okay.
what was the old lady being bloodbent if Katara could block her bloodbending?
You'd figure
Right?
she could block it back, right?
Oh,
But maybe Katara is stronger. She is stronger. Also, Hama's pretty petrified, and Katara doesn't even bend her for long. After like a few seconds, the villagers show up and they put her in handcuffs. But yes, Katara is just a more powerful bender in general. So her being able to bloodbend a 9-year-old woman, it's probably hard for a 9-year-old woman to like get the water in her blood flowing properly, even without bending. Like she probably has trouble moving already. So without like you know, having to like push against someone else's will, like in order to move, like that's just gonna make it 100 times worse. So yeah.
I think it was because at that point, the old lady was probably in shock. How are you able to do this? She was in shock as the audience is, and she wasn't able to block it as well. But I mean, yeah, she should have been able to block
Well, yes, I said that, but also she's like 90 years old.
I
it
mean,
eventually.
she's, once it's closing out, she's happy about it, right? She's like cackling, like, haha, you've become potentially unethical like me. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
But up to the point of
and that's her.
it first happening, she is like, what the fuck, how are you doing this? And I shared her sentiment. I was like, how is she doing that?
I think as the series went along, they played Katara more and more like a prodigy of waterbending,
Hmm.
especially when they went to North.
She's she's basically like a prodigy as soon as she makes it to the Northern Water Tribe. I mean, she learns really quickly and becomes an extremely powerful waterbender. She is extremely strong. I don't know how MauLer missed this. It's kind of hard to miss the types of attacks she does. I mean, they are massive. Like they are the most aggressive attacks you see in the show. Which matches her character. And yeah, and also Hama is 90 years old. How hard is it to think that a 90-year-old is going to have a hard time blocking out a young, more powerful bender pushing away their bending on themselves? Why is that so hard to believe? Yes, she's the one who invented bloodbending and is really strong with it, but Katara learned it as well, and she's even stronger, so, I mean, and she's younger, so who do you think wins? I would bet the more powerful and younger person rather than the powerful but not as powerful old person.
North Pole. I'm not necessarily agree with that, but that's kind of what they did. They kind of just kind of out of
Well,
necessity
I mean,
because
there might
all the
be a
stuff they
fate
go through.
element there too, right? Because Aang bumped
Yeah,
into what is essentially the prodigy of waterbending, the prodigy of earthbending, and a traitorous Fire Nation person that couldn't obviously jump over to his side.
who is the brother?
He said that so said that so dry and condescendingly, I think he's gonna have bad things to say about Zuko. Literally, you are stupid. if he says even one thing wrong with Zuko's story, because I can't think of a single thing wrong with Zuko's story. It is masterfully told. You don't know what good writing is at that point. I would say you have to go to school. I don't even go to school about writing, and I can understand that Zuko's story is probably one of the best things ever. Like, Zuko is like one of the best characters in anything I've ever seen. His story never ceases to amaze me, no matter how many times I see it. I'm rewatching it right now. I'm doing my annual rewatch right now, and every time Zuko's story is on screen, I'm fully invested. I cannot think of a single thing wrong with it. It is masterfully told, and it's something I wish I could do with my writing, but I don't think I ever could. And for you to condescendingly say he runs into a traitorous Fire Nation person, an obviously traitorous Fire Nation person, and obviously say it like that, I'm already depressed about what's coming up ahead.
Brother of a prodigy of firebending, so
Yeah.
they like it was one more distance of connection, but there's still a connection to a prodigy there. So yeah, this element of fate. Aang himself was a prodigy of airbending. Katara, they played her up eventually as a prodigy of waterbending because she caught on pretty quick too, and she was able to, I think, put up a good fight against the North Pole Master. And then Toph is a prodigy of earthbending. So yeah, element of fate that he would come across these very powerful young benders in their respective fields. Except for Zuko, of course, because everybody hates.
No, but Zuko. Yeah, yes, Zuko is not a prodigy, but that's what makes him an even better teacher for the Fire Nation, because the prodigy, Azula is the prodigy of the modern firebending, and that is the raw emotion, evil, like cold-blooded firebending. I mean, her fire is even blue, which is a cold color, but obviously blue fire is hotter. She is a prodigy of the modern firebending, which is the wrong way to do it. It is fueled by rage and emotion and things that, you know, that firebending didn't used to be about. Whereas Zuko, he goes on a long, arduous journey and learns that the old the modern Fire Nation ways are not the way things should be done, and slowly learns what true firebending really is, and he becomes a prodigy of the original firebending. And again, masterfully told story. Really, Zuko is the actual hero of the story. If it weren't for him, I don't think anyone would have won.
Zuko. He just happens to be the brother of a firebending prodigy.
So this next thing I want to show you, I'm actually going to try and pull it up. But I got to be careful because this recording.
Oh, a clip. Yeah, hopefully we don't get copyright strikes for this. I didn't get copyright striked for showing clips in the past couple of episodes, so hopefully this isn't bad. I think I know what he's pulling up, and this is one I'm probably going to have to give him a point for. I think I remember seeing this. However, his point is true. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm not going to bring it up in case if I'm wrong. But in case if I'm right, the point he brings up, yes, I'll agree to it. However, his solution that he comes up for it is absolutely ridiculous and makes it worse. Now I'm going to come up with a better way to fix it if this is the right one.
Recording is going to try and be on YouTube, so I need to be careful about copyright. So I'll do my best to get around it. But so context-wise, you remember how sort of Zuko and Iroh's story in season 1 is that they are perpetually trying to get to the Avatar, but unfortunately they are thwarted or otherwise defeated, and Ozai considers Zuko to be a failure and Iroh to be a traitor.
Yeah.
And so we find out as the audience that they're going to capture them and bring them to the Fire Nation at the beginning of season 2. And they tell them, hey guys, we're going to be going home. How about that?
Yes, this is the point. Hold up, I don't have my paper.
And it's like, oh my goodness,
Oh yeah,
really?
this in a Zulu. It's in a Zulu do that, right? To lay the trap.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
When
Now,
Also, by the way, this is the episode Avatar State, the episode we established he didn't watch because he didn't process anything that happened with Aang learning about the Avatar State, so I'm wondering how he processed this. Maybe Zuko's story is more engaging. Who would have
I
thought?
know, interestingly, the history for Azula is that she was always someone that Zuko didn't trust. And so I was, this scene, let me see what this looks like. I'm going to try and screen share with you a second. This is
the
going to
thing
look
about the
funky for
Zulu is
people
she-
watching this. Don't
she's
panic,
really
people.
good at lying. She's really good at lying.
All right, so can you see this?
I can see it. I can see it.
All right, so it's gonna look weird on the people who are listening to this if you've got it on visual. The reason it looks like that is because I'm trying to screen share with Literature Devil, but the added bonus is copyright dismissal. Like, I don't think anything's going to be picked up. But so Zula's happy to see them here because she's very close to getting them on board, and then they'll be prisoners at that point. And we're filled with tension because these guys, we actually quite like them, and we don't want them to be tricked. So. And they got a nice touch there. Iroh's not trusting this shit because he's pretty smart. He's on point.
Iroh is he's Iroh, so of course he knows
Very
everything.
wise.
I'm so glad you decided to come.
So like we're doing okay. Do you remember what happens in this scene?
That she brings him up there, and
God, Mauler, this is where you should have been. Like, oh, he doesn't remember at all. Bye. He should have gotten ER. He should have gotten literally anyone who watched the show. Like, actually,
I think Iroh just he takes a stand or something because I don't think
no, he doesn't. Something really stupid happens. I will agree that this is pretty dumb.
they go with her.
Let's pretend to be in like a cool little boardroom right now, and we're right in this scene. So I tell you, we need.
Okay. This is probably where he's gonna come up with a solution to the problem. I'm gonna tell you why he's wrong and I'm gonna try to come up with my own solution. So I'm in the boardroom, I'm listening to them, and I'm gonna fucking cut in. I'm gonna interrupt everything they're saying.
Need to get these two to realize this is a ruse because we don't want them to be captured by the Fire Nation. We want them they're going to be on the run for this season. You're like, all right, so ideas. First idea I have would be something like Iroh looking suspicious. We'll establish that he would know full well that something's up. This is weird. Because I'm on board with that. I think that's good. Then have maybe a few of these guards without helmets, like the one to the left, right there. You can see his face. Have them sweating, like they're really uncomfortable. And you could be like, why? I can't remember what else that's in, but that. Oh, Captain America, Winter Soldier. They do that in the elevator.
Oh yeah, he sees that they're sweating and they're nervous and everything.
Yeah.
They're wearing helmets. They're wearing a helmet. Who would they see sweating? The guy that's already established to be incompetent. Since the clip hasn't happened yet, I don't want to spoil it in case if anyone wants a good laugh. But what he does that's pretty much on the same level as him sweating. It shows him being the one who's incompetent.
Yeah, which is a really good giveaway. And then I think you should have maybe Zuko poke Azula about being so nice. He's like, why are you being like absurdly nice? And then like you could have dialogue that involves like
Zuko, like, he doesn't trust Azula, but like the words she knows how to manipulate people. Like, he already kind of pegs on her. It's like, why would Father want me back already? Or like, no, she's like, she tells him like, I gave you great news. You should be grateful, excited. And then Zuko is like, he really wants me back. And then Azula says, I can see you can take some time to take this in. Good evening. And then, like, yeah, she gives him time, and he ultimately thinks, like, maybe she's telling the truth. Like, I mean, why would he send her all this way, to see him? Because they don't know that they're wanted yet. So, I mean, I don't know, it's pretty plausible, but Iroh is the one who is... he probably is... He is more experienced than Zuko, and he's probably even less trusting of Azula than Zuko is. I mean, Azula did not give a shit when Iroh's son got killed in the middle of war. Iroh probably learned about that and probably thought, I should never trust this girl ever again.
I thought I would have assumed Father would consider everything that happened in the previous season to be a failure, and then you can have Azula be like, no, he's impressed, like, with how well you've done, and then you can have our characters realize, like, impressed, like, this is someone's up.
No, okay, so right there, that is the thing that I said, it makes it worse, because that right there shows that Azula is the one who is incompetent. Having her say, Father is impressed with what you've done, Prince Zuko, and then they go, impressed? By what? We failed. And then she's like, that makes her look stupid. Azula is the exact opposite of stupid. She is scaringly, menacingly intelligent. She is too intelligent for her own good. She starts to go insane. You can, I bet. Okay, here's the setup. I think this was her plan. This is why I feel like this is a hard thing to write around, and the ultimate solution they did was the only one. It's not a really good one, but I think it's the only thing you could have done. I bet you her plan was this: bring them on the ship and let them stay as guests. Yes, they are technically prisoners, but don't arrest them while they're on the ship, because guess what? If you try to arrest them, there's a chance they could resist, they could fight back, and they can escape the ship and swim back to the Earth Kingdom and flee. I bet you her plan was to keep them as quote-unquote honored guests on that ship all the way to the Fire Nation and then arrest them, because then where the hell are they going to run? They're in the Fire Nation, they can't escape. Also, like, don't arrest them in the middle of sea, because again, if they resist, they can destroy your ship, and then you're stuck out at sea, and they can, I guess, try to swim away. Probably not gonna happen, but still, I mean, they would be stranded too. So I bet you her plan, because she's really fucking smart, keep them as quote-unquote honored guests on the ship, take them all the way to the Fire Nation, then arrest them, because there was nowhere to run at that point. So if you want to have Zuko and Iroh go on a little life-changing adventure in the Earth Kingdom as refugees, then you kind of need to have something go wrong in the Earth Kingdom so that way they can flee. And you cannot make Azula look like the one who's incompetent, because guess what? You are never going to take her seriously ever again. It's like, wow, she fucked up on her first mission. What an idiot. She's an idiot. I'll never be able to take her seriously again. So you don't do that. That is why you don't have her say something stupid like, Father is impressed with what you did. Instead, what they ended up doing, how stupid it is, it makes a lot more sense than what MauLer just said. Again, shows, is he really good at writing? Or is he really the one that should be telling you about writing? I mean, he has made really, really good points before, but for some reason with this show, it's almost like his brain turns off, and he just says weird shit that, honestly, I wouldn't expect him to say. Maybe it's because with his actual critiques and everything, he has time to write things down and, really think about it and, go over it over and over again. Same with the things he does EFAP coverage on. It's all things that he completely understands. Kind of like how I'm doing this with Avatar. Like, I completely understand everything about it. Whereas, like, right now, this is something he's only seen once. And it didn't really absorb everything he watched in the first place. I mean, it's pretty evident. But yeah, you do not make the manipulative, powerful, intelligent villain. Like, she's really the true villain of the series. You do not make her look like the one who's incompetent. You have to make one of her subordinates incompetent, which is what they did. It's just really dumb.
I think there's a lot of ways you can write it. A lot of good ways, because this is...
I can't think of a single other thing that could happen. You cannot have Iroh try to pry her out, because no matter what, she isn't going to crack, because again, she's not incompetent, and Zuko, he's already, like, he wants to see Dad so much, he probably doesn't really care about anything. So it's kind of hard to think about this. I think maybe what you could do is have them be on the ship, and, like, they're still in the Earth Kingdom, and then maybe you hear two guards, like, it has to be the guards that are incompetent. Maybe you hear two guards, like, talking, in the background, and they like say something that gives it away, and then you have like a fight on the ship. But again, it serves the same purpose. But yeah, I guess it would be better if they did it that way. So maybe that's how they should have done it. Like, they're on the ship, and they're like still like within the Earth Kingdom, and they're not too far away, and they just hear two guards talk about it like way in the background. Like, Iroh just happens to hear it, and then he's like stops Zuko, and he's like, wait, shh, Zuko, listen. And then he hears them talk about it. He's like, and then they gotta escape. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, you do not make Azula the one who looks incompetent.
This is a really significant moment. This is going to change their path throughout the whole show, and I'm just going to show you what happens. Here it is.
Heard the princess! Raise the anchors! We're taking the prisoners home!
Honestly, the bigger problem I have with that, I mean, you can't even see it, but when he says, Your Highness, his mouth doesn't even move. That's a huge plot hole. Yes, I'm gonna give MauLer a point. The incompetent guard going, we're taking the prisoners home. That's a problem. However, I honestly don't think there's, like, even my idea of the guards like talking in the background, I can't even say if that's better. Like, I feel like that'd be even more awkward. Like, at least in this instance, it's something that happens in real life, someone slipping up their words. Like, they do establish that this guy cracks down under pressure, right? I'm not going to say that this happening is good, but I'm saying at least they establish it, because earlier in the episode, he's like, Princess Azula, I'm afraid the tides will not allow us to pull in before dawn, or something like that. And then Azula is like, do the tides command this ship? And he's like, I'm afraid I don't understand, Princess. You said that the tides will not allow us to pull in. Do the tides command this ship? No, Princess. And then she threatens to throw him overboard, and it says, will the tides think twice before knocking your body against the rocky shore? And he's like, no, Princess. Well, then you should worry more about me, the still-minded over. Again, showing Azula's authority and terrified and intimidation. And he breaks down under pressure, so I mean, it does establish that he would act this way. Sort of. I mean, he is still a military officer, and he did something really stupid. So I'm going to keep that as a point, like incompetent guards saying we're taking the prisoners home, but as a point. But yeah, honestly, I cannot think of a single way that would make it better. I think they wrote themselves into a corner, and this is the best they could do. It's not too terrible, but it is pretty bad.
The part that gets me is his face. He's like, "Oh, Drews, like, what have I done?" Maybe I can show.
He just messed up under Azula's command. He's dead.
Well, of course, he's the captain. Like, it blows my.
See, even like, they know, like, Azula is the most terrifying person in the universe. Why would you make her look incompetent? Like, why was that what you came up with?
Mind he could possibly make this horrendous of a mistake. It's like, the whole point is that they don't discover that they're prisoners. Like, he's like, we're taking the prisoners home. What a strange thing you need to say, you know? And
yeah, I 100% agree. Like, it's just silly. But again, I cannot think of a better way it could happen. I think they wrote themselves into a corner, and they were like, fuck! Well, whatever. We'll just have him slip up his words. That's funny. We need to put in a foreshadowing moment here. Let's have this neat little scene where Azula intimidates him.
Yeah, I burst out laughing when I first heard that, because I was like, of all the ways you could have constructed that scene, you had him blunderously state. Like, well, that's the thing, right? She goes, and then he goes, oh.
I'm dead. Well, I had a good life.
Oh, fucking, I would fire that guy. I feel like useless.
I should have gotten a better captain. I don't.
But yeah, you know, that
it is weird that, well, I mean, Azula kind of makes everyone crack down under pressure. It doesn't really matter who they are. But yeah, it is. He is shown to be extremely like incompetent. I mean, yes, like the tide's not allowing you to pull your ship in. That's like a real thing, but it's just like that's like a thing. Like I know people that are like in the military or like who was in the military, and what they do in training is they'll take everything you say literally and like make a fool out of you, sort of. It's like if they ask you to bring something and then like you bring something else. It's like, did I ask you to bring that? It's like, well, I thought like maybe you could use this too. I did not ask you to bring that, that type of thing. And so yeah, Azula was kind of doing that to him. Like maybe he had a point, like tide's not allowing you to pull, but it's just the way he said it that like she used it as an opportunity to like crack down on him. And yeah, he broke down under pressure. But yeah, it is strange that this guy literally like cracked down under.
Kind of.
Oh, I didn't mean to press play. I'm trying to get a hair off of this. Fucking allowed literally his only job. He fucking failed it in an instant.
I don't know what they were thinking with that. There's so many ways you could sort of write that scene, and they just sort of went,
You say so many ways. I've only heard one, and it was really bad. I cannot think of anything else. I think they were truly cornered there. Because, like I said, I think her plan, I mean, it is the right plan. If you really wanted to, you could have the scene where they put handcuffs on them as soon as like they get in the ship, and then they resist that way. Honestly, that would work better, but for establishing, I mean, for me, I feel like her plan was to wait till they get all the way to the Fire Nation to arrest them. I feel like that's a smarter plan. But it's also still plausible to think, like, I can arrest them while they're on the ship. Like, I think most audience members will buy that. So yeah, they could have done that. That's a better way of doing it. They should have done that. Like, they put cuffs on, and then Iroh can do his thing where he, like, heats it up, and then, like, burns them. Like he did in season 1, with, what's it called? The Spirit World Part 1? Is that the name of the episode? And, where he gets captured by the guys on the ostrich horses, and then, like, he heats up the handcuffs, and then he puts his hand on it, he's like, ah! And then he escapes. Like, they could do that, like, again. That would be a better way of doing it. But I really think her plan was to wait till they're at the Fire Nation, because I feel like that would make most sense. But it still works if she were to try to handcuff them in, like, on the ship with plenty of guards. And then, yeah, I feel like that would still work for most audience members.
That guy just says that. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it probably would have been a better way. But I mean, there's a they at that point they thought they've won. There's no way that they couldn't get them. So in his mind,
well, see, this is why I'm saying, though, I think their plan, because like Azula is not one who gets cocky. She makes the right decisions at the right time. That's why she's terrifying. She's not like your typical villain who is like cackling and laughing and taunting you like while fighting. Like, everything is calculated, which is why I think, like, you might be thinking like, well, I'm not referencing anything from the show when I'm discussing what her plan might be, but her character is so well written, just like every other character in the show, to where I could think like this has to be her plan, because Azula is so smart and evil to where like she would wait. She wouldn't like get impatient and arrest them on sight. She would wait until they're at the Fire Nation when they are 100% certain to catch them. If you really wanted to, you could wait till they're at the Fire Nation and still find a way to escape, but then, like, how are you going to get them to the Earth Kingdom? Do you establish the airship then? Like, the war balloon then? Like, oh, we gotta take one of these secret war balloons and gotta get them. That kind of ruins the terrifying surprise in Day of Black Sun, so again, like it had to be right there. They had to escape right there, and what they did was really bad. And I don't think there are many ways they could have done it better.
And his mind probably just clicked. He said, "Okay, we got them." Send the. In his mind, he probably thought like, "Okay, Iroh. As of right now, Iroh and Zuko are captured. They're under our command. They are our prisoners. Please take the prisoners down to the prison place in the ship."
The prison
And he's like,
plane.
"Oh, they don't know the prisoners yet." My oops.
Oh, I'd slap him.
he's just
It's the oops
You never see him again. He's dead. Azula killed him.
part of it that makes it so funny to me.
Yeah. Oops. At the brig. Yeah. I don't.
Yes.
Do those Fire Nation ships have a brig? I don't know.
I think they probably.
They're
Fire Nation. They must have at least something. They capture people constantly.
So I'm pretty sure that it was human error that saved their lives. It was kind of cheap. But at least, at the very least, they had Iroh being very suspicious.
Well, that's the thing. They were doing so well. They were doing so well, and then they did that. I was like, oh, you fucks! You couldn't have tried a little harder.
If they didn't have the captain say anything, Iroh, it was implied that Iroh probably would have pulled something because he's really awesome. He could beat Azula easy, probably.
I don't believe that. He actively tries to avoid fighting Azula as much as he can. In Ba Sing Se, like, he escapes her, but, like, he doesn't choose to stand and fight. That's what Zuko tries to do, and Zuko loses.
But yeah, it was dumb. They got lucky because of human error.
I mean, yeah, I would have fucking just had. I would settle for that. Iroh just being too suspicious, and he goes, "No, we're not going on that ship." And then I don't know, someone grabs them and being like,
yeah, I guess you could do that. Like, Iroh, like, stands still and he's like, "This is all too suspicious. Tell me what it is we're leaving for." And then Azula says, "Father just wants you home. Family is extremely important." When has family ever been important? And like, she can't come up with an answer. It's like, Iroh, get on the ship. And then Iroh just fights. I don't know. I don't know if I would call that, because again, it makes Azula crack under pressure. It makes Azula look. I think the entire point of that episode is setting up Azula as a villain, as an extremely competent villain, and they did a pretty good job. It's just like her minion was really incompetent because.
Like, yes, you are, and then fight can erupt that way. I'm cool with that. It's just the way they did it was funny. The idea, the concept, the very invention of energy bending is brought to us like.
Whoa! Where did this come from? Was there like a cut or something? But I guess they're done with that point. But yeah, here we go.
Moments before it's incredibly important to the plot.
Yeah.
I found that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm giving this a point immediately. Yes, I didn't even know it was called energy bending. Stupid fucking name. The ability to take away someone's bending. It's not... In terms of the rules of the show, it is not implausible to think that something like that exists. However, it literally shows up out of nowhere. It just happens. It's a Deus Ex Machina. And I'll elaborate further once he elaborates further. But yeah, I instantly, I have to give him a point. Like, that's something that every Avatar fan knows. Like, yeah, the fucking lion turtle showing up and giving Aang the ability to take someone's bending. Like, yeah, that's bullshit. Like, it's never established. The lion turtle is established, but not the ability to take away someone's bending. It just shows up.
Really dissatisfying.
I mean, they built it up. I mean, they built...
They didn't. They built up the lion turtle, and that's about it. They also built up the moral conundrum, but then they just gave Aang the answer right away. Feel like it would have been. I'm not sure. I'm wondering. Is there a more plausible way to take away someone's bending with what he knows already? Could he use blood bending? I mean, that's what they fucking do in Korra, even though it makes no fucking sense. There was a the first episode of season 3 was going to be there's like it's like an official thing now. Like, I don't know if it's like a comic or like a game or like it's like a lost episode with like unfinished animation or something, but like there was going to be an episode. It was going to be the first episode of season 3 where Aang, after being killed, he dies by Azula from the lightning. Aang is in the spirit world and he has to go back to his body. And in the meantime, he sees Ko, again, the face stealer. Like in season 1, when you see Ko, he says, "We'll meet again." And it zooms in on one of the faces he stole, as if to set up that it's important, and you never see him again. Yeah, like they were going to. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know anything about this episode. Although, like, I'm pretty sure, like, he does meet Ko. I know he like talks to Kyoshi or something, but I'm like, something like in there I feel like would be a good place to set up energy bending, or the ability to take away someone's bending. Like, that would have been a perfect time to just set it up, because that's the problem. It's not set up in any way, but they cut that episode out due to pacing issues, which is fine, but like, yeah, like it created a problem to where like now there's a Deus Ex Machina. Again, like, I don't know if in that last episode they bring up energy bending, but if they did and they cut it due to pacing issues, I feel like that was the wrong decision. At least take elements from that episode and sprinkle them in some other ones, some later ones, but they didn't do that.
The energy bending itself, but they built it up as a kind of an alternate hero's journey, kind of like, not a hero's journey, but a development, an arc, and it's something they were looking for, because Aang was wrestling with his morals, because he has to. There's no way out of this, as far as he can tell, without killing Ozai. He has to kill Ozai because Ozai will not stop. He can beat Ozai, he can face Ozai, but Ozai is way too powerful, and even if he defeats him, he will not stop. He'll continue. He's too charismatic. He's too in control of everything. He's too powerful of a firebender just to keep under lock and key. He has to die. And it seems to be the only place he can go. And Aang goes on this like journey, and he's trying to wrestle with himself. How am I supposed to do this without killing Ozai? And he actually encounters that big dragon turtle thing,
Lion turtle,
on his journey, and the dragon turtle imparts wisdom. I mean, yeah, it comes out of nowhere, but it's again part of that fate where
the lion turtle doesn't come out of nowhere. It's set up in the library. It's like, check out these weird lion turtle things, and you see like a little person, like a little, it looks like a little Fire Nation guy, and he's talking to a huge lion turtle. You see that, and then also like Master Piandao from Sokka's master. He says, "Your heart was bigger than a lion turtle." You know, so it sets up lion turtles. It doesn't set up the ability he gives Aang, though.
The Avatar comes in and goes on a journey. He's searching for an answer to a question, or searching for an answer to his morals, and searching for an answer to a question is very it's kind of the central to the Buddhist philosophy, this thinking and pondering and sacrificing. I think I remember this correctly, but didn't Aang spend a long time on a long journey almost dying before he encountered the dragon turtle? When he encountered the dragon turtle, that's when he gets the knowledge on how to
what happens is he's afraid that Sozin's Comet's coming. In fact, like, MauLer's point about convenience, in Sozin's Comet, Aang admits that he's gonna wait until after the comet to fight the Fire Lord. Like, that was their plan. After, like, they're not ready. He needs to master all of his bending. Like, he's gonna wait till after the comet. And then Katara's like, yeah, they pretty much already won the war since they took over Ba Sing Se, so there's no point. But then Zuko says, hey, by the way, he's actually going to destroy the whole world, so you have to. So, yeah, convenience, like, he was literally going to wait till after the comet. Like, if Zuko didn't tell him that the whole world was going to be destroyed, like, yeah. I don't agree with that convenience point at all. I think that point was probably the dumbest one out of all of them. But yeah, we'll go on for a little bit longer. I just want to. I'll wait till they start their next point, and then after this point, then we'll be done.
Spirit bend.
The,
We're talking about
the
something else
lion
entirely.
tail, and yeah. Well, the lion tail.
Oh, I didn't explain what happens. Aang is like sleeping, and then he like starts sleepwalking towards the island, and he's not really conscious of what he's doing. Then he goes on the island, and then he wakes up when it's a lion turtle. He swims away like really far away to like all the way to the Earth Kingdom, and that's when Aang wakes up, and he starts talking to all the other avatars, and he's like, "Where am I?" And then yeah, he talks to the lion turtle. The lion turtle gives him some pretty good advice, really profound advice.
Teaches him about energy bending, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Lion Turtle teaches him energy bending. And
See, that's the thing. He doesn't really teach him. He just tells him, "Hey, this exists," and then he gives it to him. It would be better if he taught him. It's like, this is how we do it. He does teach him, like, he does say, your own spirit must be unbendable, or you will be corrupted and destroyed. Which is interesting. It would have been more impactful if we were explained that before the fight. Like, if we knew Aang was gonna get that ability before the fight in any way, it would have had more impact. Because Aang could maybe like try to use it, or like you could see him like trying to go for it because he has to get up close, and then he could like miss. So he has to find a way to like get Ozai to submit, and then that's when he uses the seismic sense and does it. Because like it would be like throughout the fight, like they're kind of just like doing a Dragon Ball fight. Like no one is actually like trying to accomplish anything. They're kind of just throwing moves at each other until one of them submits. Like I love the choreography of the fight, but they really are just like doing a battle of attrition. Is that the right phrase? Like they're basically just like whacking away at their health bars rather than actually like, you know, finding a strategy to take down their health bar in the best way possible. They're not going for parries or backstabs. They're just hacking at each other, sort of. Like it would be so much better if Aang was like trying to get up close. Like I love how he's like running away, like because he's obviously afraid of Ozai in the first part. But like there should be a few times where he should try to get up close and like use it, but then Ozai scares him even more, and then he starts running away more often, and then that's when he throws himself into the big rock as a shield. But yeah, since we don't know that he has access to that power, like there really is like you really don't know like what's gonna happen, and then it just happens, and then you're like, wait, what? Like why? Wait.
I forgot what happens right before that, but I think Aang was on like the brink of death, or he had gone on some.
What? What are you talking about? He was nowhere near they were living like peacefully. In fact, Zuko dogs like he fucking gets angry at them for having too much fun. In fact, he fucking attacks Aang for like, stop fucking fooling around, you little prick.
Journey of in isolation.
He was
where
like
the dragon turtle saved his life.
No, he was just sleepwalking.
Well, that's another thing that sort of struck me as really odd. He's very panicked about taking on Ozai because everyone's saying he has to kill Ozai, and he doesn't want to, obviously,
yeah.
as part of his philosophy and his people, his culture. And he's like half asleep, and he wanders off, and he swims over to this island that he spots, and then he falls asleep on the island, and the island moves him out into the middle of like the ocean, and so all of his friends are like, "Oh God, he's gone! What do we do?" Like, and there's someone else. So the whole thing is really odd to me, especially when we're that close to the climax of all of it. It's like he wandered off, this island showed up. What would the island have done if he wasn't near a body of water? Like,
I don't know. Maybe I think it's like something about drawing him to the lion.
Lion turtles are very spiritual. In fact, they even have that spiritual energy bending. In fact, I kind of wonder if they are spirits, although spirits in Avatar are kind of depicted as regular animals in our world. Like Heibai is like a regular panda, Wan Shitong is like a regular owl, and he has his little fox seekers, and then the koi fish for the moon and the ocean. So yeah, a lion turtle, I guess, isn't an actual spirit, but they seem like very spiritual creatures. Like they're animals, but they're kind of like humans in the sense that they have intelligence and abilities. Because people in Avatar, they have abilities, they have bending, and in fact, in the era before the Avatar, they bend not the elements but the energy within themselves. So the lion turtles are probably no different. For all we know, there could be a fire-bending lion turtle. I mean, in Korra, we know that all they do is fucking give bending. But let's ignore that, because Korra sucks, and it ruins everything. But yeah, I would say lion, the aspect of fate, the lion turtle, like, I don't know, used sonar and realized that Aang was on Ember Island, and then went to him at the moment of truth. Isn't a good defense. Oh. I want to say, like, is this the same point as Deus Ex Machina, or is this something else? Like the lion turtle even showing up. Is that considered a different point? I would say no, because the entire thing is kind of contrived. Like, lion turtles existing, that's fine. But the fact that it kind of just shows up right when he needs to and then gives him a power right when he needs to, I feel like that's kind of like the same thing. Yeah, I'll keep that as the same point. So, yeah, that the 8th point was incompetent guard saying we're taking the prisoners home, and the 9th point is Deus Ex Machina at the end with the lion turtle and the energy bending. Oh, God, I'm getting tired.
So, because those lion turtles are supposed to be those gigantic like controllers of the universe or something. So they have a spiritual connection to the Avatar. It seems to be what that might consist of, especially since they teach spirit bending. So that seems to be like an aspect of fate where they can draw in the Avatar. They have a connection to the Avatar's wants.
It pains me that my defense is the same thing as Literature Devil.
And the Avatar's will at any moment. And as we saw, the Avatar is drawn to the Lion Turtle, and Lion Turtle saves him, teaches him how to spirit bend.
He didn't save him. I don't know why he thinks he was on the brink of death. He was just like Aang just sleepwalked towards it, which I always interpreted that as like the Lion Turtle made him do that, but it's like he didn't save him from anything. Aang wasn't in any danger.
Which
you're saying energy bending, right? Or is that?
Also, it's the lion turtles are spiritual because when they go to June to like have the Shearshu sniff his staff, he's like, he doesn't exist. And he's like, what do you mean he's dead? It's like, no, we could find him if he were dead. So it's like lion turtles are like on another plane of existence. I have no idea how to interpret that. Yeah, it's really strange.
I don't know. Are they saying the same things, spirit and energy? Because I remember.
I don't remember. It might be. I can't remember if they refer to it as spirit bending as well. Obviously, the point
whichever
is
the one is what takes away his bending.
Yeah. The point is that like that to me was a huge issue, though. The quandary of those two options, and then he's provided a third one.
Well, it's not really a third option. He just has easier access to the second option, which is spare him. First option would probably be spare him, but you can't. And the second option is kill him. But yeah, like the thing that he gets access to allows him to spare him when before he kind of wasn't able to. Yeah.
That like fixes everything for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like again, like in terms of themes, like it shows, like, you know, like if you believe in yourself and your ideals, like anything, like things will work out for you. But in terms of the story, like what actually happens in the story, it's like, yeah, it's completely contrived, and it really is the biggest flaw with Avatar.
To me, if I were being objective, which I guess I should be at this moment, that's kind of cheap. I wouldn't like that. I don't like that. I really like the idea of Aang wrestling with the idea of killing Ozai, and is he going to do it? How's he going to get out of it? And he's handed a third option to get out of that quandary.
Yeah,
I can kind of accept it because it's just...
Again, if they set it up like a lot better, like if they set it up over time and maybe the Lion Turtle shows up a few episodes earlier and he actually like trains with him, Like, maybe make season 3 a couple episodes longer. Like, it's only one episode longer than the rest, and even then, like, I always count Sozin's Comet as one episode, so really it's, like, not even 20 episodes long if you count multiple parters as one episode. Because, like, all the other seasons, they have 20 episodes. But then with season 3, it's 21, but, I mean, 4 of them are Sozin's Comet. I feel like they could have made season 3 a bit longer and like have the lion turtle show up earlier and like Aang could like learn from him, and like, you know, and he has to learn like you have to get up close, you have to put your thumbs here, and you have to make sure your opponent is immobile, and also you have to make your own sphere unbendable for a split second for it to work. So it's extremely stressful. If they set all of that up before the fight, it would have been a lot better, but it just shows up, and it's told to you while it's happening. It's like, well, of course it's gonna work. You wouldn't be telling us while it's happening unless if it's like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Oh, he did it? Well, I didn't expect that.
It plays into the world and the culture.
We got a few options. I've got a favorite one out of these, but I'll go through a couple. So some of them are brutal, right? So let's say he kills him, and then they leave us with a changed Aang, and like, the problem with that one, as a writer on the staff, I'd be like, I don't know if we can do this because it's
very tough to have a happy ending.
This is for kids as well, so we got to be really careful with our messaging. Like the idea that's like sometimes you gotta kill a person. Like, I don't know, maybe.
Okay, kids. Sometimes you just have to kill.
The thing is, though, like the entire message of why Aang, like, not only is it like, oh, it's a show for kids, but it's also like the entire message and theme of the show is that everyone deserves a second chance. Like, the Fire Lord, throughout the first 2 seasons, you never see his face. And the reason for that is so you see him as a monster. But then in season 3, you see his face for the first time, and he's just a normal guy. Like, they've been putting this guy, like, making him look like a ferocious monster and, like, in mystery the whole time, and he's just a person. That's what he is. And it like, one of my friends, Jeremiah, when he said it, he was like, wait, that's the Fire Lord? Like, I showed him one of the episodes, and he's like, wait, that's what the Fire Lord looks like? It's like, yeah. It's like, wow, that's stupid. But there's a point behind it. The Fire Lord is a terrible person, but he is still a person. And all people, no matter how bad they are alive. They deserve a chance at life. That's kind of the message of the show. Like, Ozai is one of the most horrible people in the show. Azula's probably worse, but Ozai is a really fucking bad person, but he is just a person. And that's why Aang doesn't want to kill him. And, yeah, that's kind of like why the show is trying to teach you, like, do not just kill people because they're bad. Like, you should be better than that. In reality, though, it isn't that simple. Like, I feel here's my ideology. Here's my morality. If you were given the option, like, let's say you're fighting, like, someone is mugging you, but you are able to overpower them, and, like, you take the weapon out of their hands. I believe that you, like, at that point, if you were towering them, like, you won the fight already, you do not need to kill them to make sure they don't come back. You won the fight. You can make them run away. You can call the cops. Like, you won the fight at that point. You do not need to kill them. But if someone is mugging you and you're not able to overpower them, but you are able to, you know, find a way to, you know, get your hands around their neck, or you're able to get the weapon out of their hands, but they're still, like, resisting you, like, they're still towering above you, that's kind of when you have to kill someone for your own survival. So basically, if you are in a position where you won, like, you powered over your opponent, you don't need to kill them. But if you're in a position where you are still in a defending state, but you have the option to kill, you probably should kill. Like, that's my morality with that. But that's kind of what Avatar is teaching you, but it's more so like teaching kids, like, don't just assume that someone should be dead just because they're bad. Like, they're still people. Like, treat people like people. That's kind of what it's teaching you. But giving the character Deus Ex Machina, that is not the best way to handle the message.
Murder. Okay, sometimes it just has to happen.
So then another option
Drinking is
was
good.
he could break his arms and legs. And
What the fuck? Okay. I guess that is an option, but I feel like that would be even worse to show on a kid's show.
like, it's
Even
brutal,
worse.
but he's alive. And you're like, oof, that's still hard
Honestly, like, killing him would be a bigger mercy at that point.
to translate for a kid's show. And I was like, so this is my favorite one. He neutralizes him, like, knocks him out, whatever, puts him in a prison, and you get the scene, right? That happens with, like, basically all superheroes and villains that do this. He's like, this
I'll
place
get you
won't...
next time,
well,
Aang.
the whole, like, this won't hold me forever, and then Aang will be like,
Yeah.
and once you get out, I'll be waiting for you.
I think you're missing an option. Other option is you still have the ability to take away someone's bending. You just build it up, and you establish the rules, like, gotta get in close, gotta have, in this your hands in this specific spot. Your opponent needs to be immobile, and you need to be unbendable for a split second. Then you can, take away their bending. Just all you have to do is just set the power up, and it's perfectly fine. They didn't do that. Now, if you're saying, like, if they're in the, like, it's already established, like, shit, like, this is the last episode, we already writ everything beforehand, we can't change anything. Yes, him winning the fight, by knocking him out, and then putting him in prison, that probably is the more logically, like, the more objectively better way of doing it. Emotionally, like, the Deus Ex Machina thing, like, oh, you got the bright lights, you got this crazy new power, like, but yeah, it's bad. So yeah, like, it would be better if instead he just knocked him out and put him in prison. It's unfortunate you don't get to have those cool things. Those cool things are cool, but they would be good because they're not good. They would be good if they were set up, but since they're not, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, then it wouldn't have been as final as it was, because taking his his firebending away was pretty final.
Oh, yeah.
He essentially killed him.
Yeah, that's basically what I mean. Like, you need, like, that sense, like, that sense of finality, but like the ability to get that, like, you need to set it up.
He's pretty useless.
He's
Just a guy now.
neutralized.
That was and Ozai in particular. Like, if you took away Iroh's bending ability, it probably wouldn't have been that detrimental to his life. But Ozai is totally different. Ozai is this. He's all about power, all about being the best and strongest firebender, which is why he preferred Azula over Zuko and treated Zuko pretty much like trash, like he didn't exist. And so, yeah, taking away his firebending capability is essentially death. You killed the man, Ozai. You killed his spirit, and you shattered everything he thought was important in life. So that's pretty bad.
And you
right?
get why, like,
But
they didn't want to introduce it any earlier, because I think we'd all be like, well, that's what he's going to do. And the question wouldn't be, should I kill him or should I not? It would be, just energy bend him.
Yeah, like, that is true. I think I said that before, but I think, like, what would still give you tension is the rules as to how it works. You still have to get up close. Your opponent needs to be immobile, and you need to be unbendable for a split second. And it's just like, if you had training with that, like, you could have an episode where Aang actually has to take away someone's bending. But like, he would have to, like, think, like, how am I gonna do that? But, like, he would have to, like, train to do that, and, like, with all those things, there would still be tension because he still has to meet these specific requirements. And then there could still be, like, Aang, is it even worth it? Like, you could, if you mess up, you could lose your bending, and then it would be like, is it a matter of, like, lose your ability to fight and, like, die, or you could try to save the world by the way you do it, or you have to kill him. That would be the three options. Like, are you gonna be so stubborn to where you're gonna try this thing but end up dying, or are you gonna kill him, or are you really gonna risk it? And, like, if you succeed, yeah, you'll make it, but if you don't, you're dead and you're powerless. If they set it up, like, yeah, like, of course he's gonna try to do it, but at the same time, it's like you would still have, like, that question of how is he gonna do it? Like, how is it gonna work? And then, yeah, he does a seismic sense, and then he does it, like, the whole fight could be exactly the same, except you have more scenes of Aang trying to get in close rather than running away. I mean, you still have to run away a lot, because obviously he's going to be terrified, but, like, you have a few fighting moments where he tries to get up close.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I think
it
you could have
wouldn't
worked
come
with
in
that.
as a savior.
You could have been like, you have to get him into a position where you can do it, and you have to have a big fight, and then, you know, all that stuff, but... Yeah, they just sort of just like, use that new thing you got yesterday and just win.
Okay, so MauLer agrees with me. That's good. But yeah, the way it was done was really bad.
Because that's something else.
Well, he had to fight Ozai still. He had to beat him into submission before he could actually use it.
Yes, which is another thing that I take, I guess, personal issue with. So what I did like about the show was several, when we're talking a lot of episodes, they will be like, time to train time, we're doing some training, in and amongst different stories. That's good. I think you may have heard that there's some characters that don't require such things, and they can achieve stuff
Some
anyway.
characters just don't need training. They're just gods
And so,
right from the get-go.
You know, the Godzilla creature at the end of season 1, it'd be like, okay, so his training isn't why he can do that. It's because he's accessing the avatar state, combining with the koi fish, the power, spirits, all that thing. And so I've got that in my head, and I'm like, so he's training earthbending, airbending, firebending, and waterbending because he needs them to defeat Ozai. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't he just need to get a grip on the avatar state? What's the relevance?
Okay, we're going to tackle this point next time because I'm tired and this has been pretty long. I have no idea how long I've been going for. But yeah, this point is answered in the show again in the episode Avatar State, the episode he didn't watch except for the incompetent guard scene apparently. We'll tackle this point next time. Read my show, or not my show, my comic if you would like. Further inspection in my writing because I constantly reread it, and I have other friends of mine read it and they give me their input. Most recently, I had a friend read it, and he said he thinks that the concept is good and that the story, like, he can't find really any flaws with it, but the dialogue is either mediocre or bad, and I completely agree. I need to work on my dialogue more. It's just not something I've ever been able to. Like, I'm kind of just writing it as if like it's me and the boys talking. You know, it's just like friends talking to each other. It's like, yeah, it's natural, but at the same time, it's not really interesting. Like, nothing's really written in an interesting way. And sometimes it's even my friend says, like, sometimes it's robotic. Like, it's things that someone wouldn't say. Like, yeah, I completely agree with you. It's hard to make term, like, I want to be friends, not going to be friends. Like, this is not really, like, stuff like that. If you've read it, you probably know what I'm talking about in certain scenes. Like, some of the dialogue I put in is just questionable at times. But yeah, just if you guys would like to read how I would write a story, it's technically a rough draft, yet I'm uploading it anyway, just so I can get proper input on it. Yeah, I would really appreciate if you guys would read it and give me some critiques. But anyway, this has been this episode. He's made 2 points this episode. One being the incompetent captain on the ship, and then the other one being the Deus Ex Machina at the end, which, I mean, of course, like, that one is a really big problem. But yeah, next time, hopefully, I can get in contact with Joe again, because that would be good. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Hey everyone, Burglar223 here, and I have an announcement for you guys. So this episode was made 2 weeks ago, and a couple days ago for this recording of the voice you are hearing right now, MauLer had yet another Dark Souls live stream right after the Man of Steel EFAP movies finished premiering, which I mean, that was a fucking great video. But so during that live stream, I actually took it upon myself for the very first time to donate a super chat to MauLer. And I'll be honest, one of the main reasons why I did that was to get some exposure for these videos. Because I'm a narcissist and greedy. But even though I don't make any money off these videos. But yeah, I just wanted to get the word out there that response videos to his Avatar Mini are being made. And I said that he should check them out sometime. It could be interesting. But he basically just replied that he's not really passionate or really cares about enough about his opinion of Avatar to discuss anything further. He said that he is not the person to tear it apart, so he is probably not going to respond to it in any way. And then Rags proceeded to say that whenever Avatar has been brought up in their community, things get pretty toxic and everyone kind of acts crazy, which I can see, I can completely understand. Avatar kind of has a pretty defensive fan base. I mean, I think the reason why is because it is such an amazing show. Like, it's objectively really good. And I hope my videos have been doing a relatively well enough job explaining why. But it doesn't have the attention it deserves. So seeing someone who is well versed into writing as MauLer treat it like that, like treating it as if it was as bad as he said it was, even though he was wrong on so many things, kind of triggers people. And I can completely understand. I mean, it triggered me enough to where I made these videos. But some people act more irrationally than others. I mean, it's totally understandable. So the whole point of these videos was to get some sort of response from MauLer, and I got one. I mean, he basically just said he's not passionate enough about his opinion of Avatar, and it seems like he basically has conceded that he is wrong, and he just doesn't want to go along with any further with it. He's essentially done with that topic and just wants to move on from it. Which, I mean, I know I've brought that up before, but the way he put it this time made it was a little bit more understandable as to why he wants to move on from it. He doesn't want to move on because he's afraid of discussion. It's just he's just not passionate enough about discussion. It's like if you were to ask me, like, if you were to talk to me about how the Transformers movies, okay, I like the first Transformers movie, right? But if you were to go crazy and tell me how bad it was, I wouldn't care. Like, I know that it's a really bad movie, but I'm not really going to discuss with you why it's good or bad. I am not passionate enough to talk about it. I just like the sound effects. So that's basically what it felt like to me. So with that response, I am not sure what the future of these videos hold. In fact, I think that this one is going to be the last one for a while because, like I said, the whole point of these videos was to get a response. But since that was his response, and since he said that he's probably not going to make a proper response, meaning a discussion and everything, I just don't see the point because it would be me talking to a brick wall, basically. There's no end game with this. It's just saying it for the sake of saying things. And I talked with Joe about this too, and he basically said the same thing. But yeah, so my plan right now is to release this video. To release this video, and then that'll probably be it. at least for a while. What I want to see, what I want to know is if you guys, because I know that these are my most well-received videos. I want to know what you guys think. Should I continue making these despite the chance that he's not going to give a proper response? Do you think I should just just move on since he basically has conceded at this point? I don't know. I'm sure that you guys aren't huge fans of my other content, so I can guess what most of you might say. But yeah, I would just like to know. It could be interesting, or maybe you can give me other ideas of other things to talk about. Maybe you learn something from these videos and be like, hey, from what I know of you, maybe you would like doing something like this. So I don't know. I'm basically just gonna leave it up to you guys at this point, but don't expect part 5 for some time, no matter what the result is. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoyed these videos for as long as I've been making them. And yeah, that's basically it. Bye.